SABC news reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane spent the day at the Union buildings, and that follows that MK Party protest or demonstration to the Union buildings, and that was in support of KZN Police Commissioner Ntlantla Mkhwanazi following that explosive press briefing that took place more than a week ago. Joining us now on the line is SABC news reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane for more on that march. Ntlantla, thank you so much for your time. Now today you spent pretty much the whole day at the Union buildings, and the MK Party was holding its protest in support of Ntlantla Mkhwanazi.
Yes, a very good evening, but indeed the whole day we were in Pretoria, where MK members together with some leadership were marching to the Union building. But before they reached the Union building, they ensured that they painted the capital green on the streets of Pretoria. And amongst their grievances in Bali is that they want the president to go. They want the immediate arrest of Minister of Police and all those who are implicated by the KZN commissioner to be arrested. I mean, amongst the things that they said that if former President Jacob Zuma and party president of MK could face the law, why shouldn't others do? They read the memorandum there. We also saw a bit of a commotion when they were going to the gates of the Union building, as you know that there were other organizations, civic organizations that, took today to protest and raise their voice against this issue. And the gates were closed as, the representatives from the president's office were still dealing with the civic organization. Also saw a bit of a tension there, but it later calmed down when the representatives took time to, receive the MK's memorandum.
And Ntlantla, one can also not ignore the fact that as this protest was taking place, there was also another protest being conducted by civil society. Also, following that protest taking place at the Union buildings, we then saw the MK Party file papers at the Constitutional Court. Now, they want the fact that Senzo Mkhwanazi has been placed on special leave. They are basically challenging that at the Constitutional Court.
Well, during our day when we were interacting with them, that was one of the questions that kept on being posed, that, you guys are going to be marching and you're intensifying your cause, against the president. And they did, they assure us that going forward, if their calls are not heeded to, other steps will be taken. I mean, we also took time to even speak about, what they stood for, asking a question rather. It seems like there's nothing that this government is doing that, appeals to you. And they also touched on the national dialogue, saying that it's not a national dialogue, saying that they are, as a party, they are also even thinking about, coming up with an initiative where, people can engage in a dialogue. And this time around, according to them, it will be a people's dialogue, not the one that is going to take place this year. And also re-emphasizing their position by saying that the president must step down, or else certain steps will be taken. They'll go to court. They'll also intensify their marches and protests. Also, like I said earlier, they said that the president is no better. If other people can face the law, referring to their leader, Jacob Zuma, President Ramaphosa, and those who are implicated by Police Commissioner Mkhwanazi should also, appear before the court and be arrested with immediate effect, and also calling for the minister to be fired, and also saying that there's no need for a commission. It's just a waste of time. As allegations were put forward, people must be arrested and treated like others. That doesn't seem valid.
And Ntlantla, one would also say that it also feels like a moment of deja vu, right? During the tenure of former President Jacob Zuma, we did see some protests of this nature calling for the president to step down. And this time around, following, these allegations, we're now seeing a number of protests taking place, also calling for the president's removal. Maybe just take us through those attending these protests. What was the sentiments coming out from those who were in support of the calls here? This protest you were attending, and others today calling for the president to go.
Well, exactly, Mbali. I mean, one of the things that also came out that caught one's attention was when, other members of NK party, saying that the month of July is a month of injustice, saying that this was the time when their president, was, treated unfairly by a democratic system that he had fought for. Also, from sentiment of the civic organizations that were there, you could sense even their T-shirts had the face of the president with a cross, saying that they want the president to leave office. They kept on chanting those songs for President Ramaphosa to leave office, saying that they are not happy in terms of how he handled it. Took time to respond to these serious issues, and saying that he's acting like the ANC would, taking this thing lightly when it's serious in their face. Mbali, I mean, also there, one thing that came out was that the interaction between them, when those memorandums were handed over, one picked up that, as we arrived, while this organization were, still reading or outlining their memorandum, MK Party came in chanting those particular songs, approaching the gate, and immediately when they realized that they stood for the same thing, or they were calling for the same thing with those particular organizations, the tone went down a bit, and there was a bit of a tension, like I said earlier, because they just wanted to go in. But immediately when they realized that, okay, they were calling for the same thing, then they went down a bit. I mean, I remember that around 4:15 to 4 this afternoon, they wanted to go inside the union buildings and hand in the memorandum, and immediately when they were called to order, they said they can't leave their leadership in the hands of the police. It was heavy police presence throughout the day that was guiding the march, obviously. But immediately when they realized they stood for one thing, that's when they started coming down.
All right, Ntlantla, thank you so much for that update.